Good morning, traders. This is Perry Wilkey with StartupTrading.com. It is Thursday, July 23rd, 2020. So, uh, we did have our normal 8:30 news this morning. The unemployment claims were a little bit higher than expected, but I don't know, 1.3 versus 1.4 million. I mean, really, what's 100,000? So, anyways, looking at yesterday's session, what we have is And bear with me. Let me open up another screenshot. All right, so let's try this again. So looking back at yesterday's session, we had really the top of this is something new we're using in our room. I think it gives us a significant edge to looking at value. The top is the normal value area that we look at every day. It's developed from the bell-to-bell trading from the previous session, and we're comparing the current session to yesterday's value, right? That's traditionally what we've done for years. That's what I've done for most of my trading career. The bottom, however, is a recent add, something I've experimented with for a few months before I started sharing it. I think it gives a significant edge. This is the overnight action of the current session. So this this traded yesterday. So before where this box starts here, you are looking at where the range was for the current session from 6 p.m. Eastern time till the bell opened at 9:30 a.m. That's all the stuff before these shadow boxes where they start. This is where traders were trading. So we can generate a value area and a point of control off of those levels. And that's what this is, the boxes for each of the indices after that. So looking at that, we have our value area high zone, our value area low zone, and our true value in the middle, which is shaded, clear. So as we're looking at how traders respond, we can see that once the bell rang in the morning, opened up in the middle of value of the overnight session for the Russell, right? Tried to get up and out of value area high, got sucked back into it, kind of to screwed around, come back down. But once you get above, right, this top zone is like a demand zone, right? So when you're coming from above, so they were in the middle, they went back through, they got sucked in, they got back above it. So this should be supply, right? All these traders, right, if we're going to have a trending day up, they really shouldn't let it fall back below into the clear zone or lower. They should keep bidding it from this red zone once it clears above it. So you can see the NASDAQ, how much weaker it was. As you look, it opens up in value, can't really get outside of the overnight range, tries to get above it, gets sucked right back in it, goes down underneath the other side, gets rejected, right? So when you come back from the bottom, coming back up, if you're going to start trending lower, you're going to get rejected from this green zone when coming from below, right? So you get back in the clear zone, you're coming in from above to this zone right now, so that should be demand, right? You trade all the way up, back up to the overnight POC again, and looks like there's something going, and then you just get kicked back and rejected. So the NASDAQ really tried to get out of the value overnight, above it, below it, really didn't get anything going, right? Keep getting sucked back into it, right? So it's just balancing in this area is what it's doing. And then you look at the ES, right? It opens up in the middle of value, right? It goes above, gets sucked back in, comes back down, checks that point of control, right? It doesn't find, it tries to find buyers in this section, but you can see as soon as they lose that red zone, right, they fall right back down into the white zone and check that point of control. And as you're going back and forth, you can see that you end up getting demand, right? You can't get down to the low side, you can't get below the POC, you can't get anything going to that downside. So it starts building strength compared to the overnight session. Looking at the Dow, right? The Dow is a little bit more of a, you can see how much more bullish it was for the overnight action. So it's starting off right in the middle, right at the POC, goes up right immediately to value area high, right? Tries to get above, but notice when it comes back in, it really can't get below the red zone. It tries to get above again, and it can't get sucked back into that red zone. But notice as soon as it comes back down into the clear zone, it's short-lived. It goes back up into the red zone and then shoots out, right? Buyers can't take it lower. So that's looking at the overnight action, right? So looking at the overnight action and the valuers and how they're responding, the traders from the current session, and comparing that to the normal value area that we look at every day, right? You can see what else is going on, right? For the daily, right? The Russell is just looking a little bit below value, right? But it can't get above value area high. Every time it gets up into the sell zone, when you're in balance, right, it is sold and it just stays in balance. So using these two in combination, you can see the trend, and you can see the NASDAQ here, looking at the daily, right, it doesn't look like there's much going, right? It's a little bit more down action, right? Selling value area low, going back down to yesterday's low, and you can see the response. That was the overnight value area. It never really got out of it all day. And you can see for the ES, even when it had that late day break, right, what does it go up to? It goes right up to value area high. And there was also a poor high from Tuesday's session that was then repaired in Wednesday's session, right? So that was taken care of. And, you know, I'm beating this up a little bit more than I will every day just because it's the first time I'm sharing it with everyone on this video. So you can see, you know, the Dow on the daily, right? It opens up below value, right, but above the previous day's low, and then shoots right back into value. Has a little bit of test below value, right? That's what this is on the daily, but this is value area high for the other thing, right? And it trades back up to value area high. So using these two in combination, you can see really a lot more smaller reads, I think. And I'm using tick charts on this lower side because I really want to see the response when these levels trade. So I hope that helps explain this 8 grid a little bit. So looking at where we're at, right? So right now we would be around 3269 is what we're looking at. That's, I'm going to zoom into the recent action. Remember, this is the big gap that we're, you know, trying to get into and eventually fill. But this is from February 21st through February 24th on the ES. The low of the 21st is 33.28. The close was 33.40. So we're above that high now of the 24th, which is 32.60. That's what we kept struggling with basically for, you know, 6 weeks. So as I zoom into the recent action here, we're going to be basically at 32.70. We're right at the pretty much the top of the previous day's range. And as we look at, you know, where these POCs are, these two POCs were skipped over. They're from the previous dates. It's really this 33.39 half that is from the gap fill. So these could end up trading and, you know, give us some balance because I don't think we're trading all the way up to 33.9 half today. All right, 33.39 half. That ain't happen. But you can see if we do continue to keep trekking in this gap and filling, you know, where we could go. We could go to 32.96 pretty easily, or 33.07 basically. I got it as 33.0675. So looking at the overnight action so far today, we're at 26 points in the overnight action. You can see, right, we looked above yesterday's high. We're failing after the unemployment reports, but basically we've printed some more action up here, and you can see that spike that come in around 2 a.m., right? We're back down to the bottom end of it, and you can see the overnight high, the overnight low, and the overnight low is basically just inside of value, right? Just under value area low, and right above the point of control. So this point of control is also going to be prominent today at 32.57. Trading below there, right, is a lot more bearish than normal. It's a very prominent point of control. Looking at all the indexes, and this is just the 4 grid, right, because we're still working on developing the overnight action, right? That overnight action is going to continue till the opening bell. right? We'll cut it off, we'll produce an 8 grid, and we'll share it with the members in the room. So as we look at that overnight action, right? The Russell's making a new overnight low as we speak. It's still inside value though, and it did, get a pretty good pop up. Looking at the NASDAQ, right? Its overnight low was above value area low and above the settlement just by a smidgen. So the Russell's POC is not as prominent as the ES is today. So, just watch the value area for the Russell, and you can see the zones for value area high and value area low, right? They're almost just the same line. So very easy read for it to see where it is on the daily. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and look at the rest, but you got the Dow still holding above value area high, the ES still holding above value area high. So we'll see, remember the point of control, this yellow dash line at 32.57 is prominent today. So looking at the NASDAQ, right, and we've got the high so far, 11,058 half, coming in, going through here. And really, when we lost to 10,940, back here, right, that produced, all this response, come across, trade sideways, come back up. Notice that we made a slightly lower high on Tuesday, right, and then come back down. And we're really liking this range. You can see prices telling you it likes it between 10,748 and 10,940. And you can see in the overnight session, right, we pretty much topped out right at that 10,940. So you can see that where the node is. So I would say, getting below basically not the wick of yesterday, but the swing low. I'm not going to put a line on here yet, but 10,780, let's call it, getting below that is going to start getting into this other node. And we could split this line up. I'm going to leave it at 10,748 now, but really it should be moved down potentially to 10,735. So we'll watch how it trades today and develops and see if we need to, modify that line. But you can see this is where the edge is, and this is really where the support zone should come in between this area for the NASDAQ. Looking at the Russell, you can see 1496.30, clear resistance. We've tried to look above it now, right, and had no luck getting any traction. This will be a look above and fail, so we could potentially go to their end. You can see there's a little valley here that we're approaching right now. I'm not going to put a line on this yet either. Maybe we'll add it tomorrow, but 10,779, basically 78.90 is going to be where that valley is, and that could be a support resistance area. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and throw it on there. We'll dot it out. This could be a pivotal point in the sand for the Russell today, above or below, right? So it could look below and fail and come back up in, or it could look below and that could be some serious resistance after it comes in down. And you can see the support's going to start right around 1466.10 and down to 1462.60 is where support should come in if it's going to hold this 1462.60 area. But like I said, it might not get any lower than 1478.90 today. This is where it could find true support, and you can see that was a swing low right in the afternoon as well yesterday. And you can see how it's acted as support and resistance. You can see a little bit of action above it, right, a little action below it, but you can see it's been a pivotal line for it. So let the chart show you where the support and resistance is. Looking at the Dow now, we ended up coming down, trading these 26.510s basically yesterday afternoon, got a nice response off of here. We still really can't get over the 27,100s yet, but I think, and we still haven't really butted into it yet either. I'm going to be curious to see when we come up into it the first time how it responds. Does it, really fall back away from it again? Is it going to be a fake out? Are we going to have to mess around with this line before we, get above it and go? And are we going to be contained under it the rest of this week? Is that going to be, we do have the Fed next Wednesday with their whatever it is that they can do now that rates are at zero. But, they have unlimited quivers because they have the printing press. But we'll see what they can do. But we could just be waiting on the Fed. We might not really get out of this area until next week for sure. We could even dance lower and then come up with some conviction later. So it'll all depend on how the ES does with this gap, right? If the ES starts filling that gap, it's likely to drag the Dow up with it. So above there, I have 727,462. Below those 26,510s. And then, basically the 26,297 or 26,300 is what I like below. So looking back at the indexes, and really, watching what's happened. We'll see the response here. Like I said, I will share the overnight levels with you guys, and I'll share the actual grid with the people in the trade room. So, in my equity profiles trade room, and then give them some other thoughts on what's going on for the day. So as we look at this, I think it'll be a nice read. The Russell is, the struggler. So all those lines are going to line up. That 79 90 area is, or in 78, that's just right around the S2, so, or S1, I'm sorry. So if it breaches yesterday's low, it's definitely below that level, and starts getting traction below S1, it is as well. So watch this value, watch it develop. Traders are having an inventory correction already, right? We are net long. So we're not opening at the overnight highs anymore. We are opening at above value for the most part in these indices. So we'll see if we get a bid now off the open or if we start getting more of a correction. I hope this helps. If you like this technical analysis, give the video a thumbs up, and I will talk to you tomorrow.